an entire year of waiting. In November of 2013, two very special and lovely unpainted prototypes made their way onto my wishlist. It was a perfect combination for me, one of my recent favourite shows being Free, Iwatobi Swim Club, combined with a line of figures that I'd recently completely fallen in love with. So you could say I was excited. I'm very happy to be finally bringing you my thoughts on these two lovely Bishonen, Haruka Nanase and Makoto Tachibana, from Free Iwatobi Swim Club, made by ALTAiR. Their release has been far from smooth sailing though. A few badly taken photographs and some quality control issues, and this led to everyone cancelling their pre-orders immediately after the figures came out, and led the figure collecting community to question the morals of other figure collectors. Not to mention the people who decided to cancel their Haru pre-orders after episode 11 of Free Eternal Summer aired. I don't like you. It was a huge mess, and one that had me very concerned for a little while. Haru was the one I was looking forward to the most. He's one of my favourite anime characters, and one that I have a love for that is manifesting in all the wrong ways. I can't tell you how nervous I was about this figure because of all the aforementioned figure drama. I'd been so excited about him, and he became this sort of affordable holy grail that was yet to be released. But let's take a proper look at him, shall we? Firstly, the base. Nice and clean with the proper character associated colour on it. While I'm bringing this up, Makoto's base is identical, just with green instead of blue. I quite like the clear bases because they don't draw too much attention away from the figure itself. For all the people complaining about it because it didn't have a water feature installed, nay, I say, it's good this way. The detail on certain parts of this guy kind of boggles my mind a little bit. I didn't really expect anything about this figure to be that detailed, and the thing that really blows me away is the zip on the jacket. It looks like a zip. My favourite part though, the muscles. Excuse me, I can't help sounding perverted. They just look fantastic, and from what we see of Haru in the anime and other official art, it's just very accurate. And although it looks great from the front, if you light it in just the right way, the way that the shadows work make this figure look incredible. Just look at that! Oh. I have a few minor niggles with this thing that aren't anything to do with quality control. One of them being his fingernails and toenails. They're really, really shiny. This led me to flipping all of my other ALTAiRs every which way to see if they'd recently had a manicure, but none of their nails are as shiny as Haru's. Just can't stop looking at that thumbnail. Unfortunately, there are some defects on my particular figure. Hiding behind his zip here, we have some pretty noticeable dark blue paint on his skin, which bothers me quite a bit. It really means that if I want to display him without showing off that particular defect, I have to make sure he's at a very specific angle, which I'm really not looking forward to when I eventually get my det off. That's the worst one, but it's not the only one. The bump of paint on his arm, the scratch on his back, and while we're talking about that, the paint has a really weird and uneven consistency on his back and nowhere else. The scratch on his collar, and to top it off, the paint job is just a little bit sloppy in places. Just lots of little things that are kind of disappointing. After being exposed to previous ALTAiR figures, I was actually kind of disappointed. I genuinely consider 3 of the 4 Untitled figures to be perfect, but none of them had this many quality control issues. I guess those are things that I have to overlook though, but my biggest problem with this figure is the lack of things that it comes with. These figures were not cheap by any mean. They retailed at about 7,800 yen from various websites, which is about the same price as the Utano Print Summer figures from the same line. To recap those very, very briefly, they all come with a microphone and an alternate expression. Though a lot of the time these spare heads are never used, it's nice to have the choice, but there's none of that here. You only have one expression and you better like it. I personally would have liked it if he'd come with a half smirk or a smiling expression, but nope, none of that. In terms of other accessories, you get a pair of swimming goggles to hang around their necks. To put them on, you have to take off his head, so why no alternate expressions? This is just disappointing, I suppose. I'm not quite sure why this figure was so expensive, yet comes with less things than other figures of the same price. The goggles are pretty nice though, and they hide one of my least favourite things about this figure, along with one of the best. I'm a big fan of the collarbones, let's be real, but I also do not know how to feel about his back muscles and how they look from the front. I literally cannot make sense of what's going on here, and it kind of bothers me. Am I crazy? I'm probably crazy. I know people are going to tell me that I'm a big dumb for being disappointed by the fact that these figures don't come with a whole lot because they were never advertised as such, but I just wanted to throw that out there for those of you who are crying at the aftermarket prices. So we're moving on to the reason why most people are probably here. Makoto Tachibana. When we start to talk about him, I get to tell you about one of my favourite details about these two. Their feet are different. It's subtle and I probably wouldn't have noticed if they were the same, but it's a nice little detail that I really appreciate. I think the expression that Makoto comes with suits the character to the core. He just looks so gentle and brotherly, and if you're one of those people that thinks he looks a bit weird because he lacks teeth, don't worry, they are actually there. A nice detail that you'll never really get to see, I guess. There are very few problems that I have with the sculpt. I think his hair looks kind of badly sculpted in some places, and I think that the way he's posed is kind of a shame, especially for those fans of the Makoto muscle out there. Since he's folded his arms, you only really get to see his muscles from certain places. By the way, the goggles don't really fit Makoto at all. Honestly, he doesn't have hideous back muscles to hide, which kind of baffles me because, you know, he's the fucking backstroke guy, but they just don't fit. They do this hover thing or they just sit on his collar and don't look right. Oh, can we talk about the paint job now? I don't even know who thought this was even remotely acceptable. It's messy, it's uneven, and I'm really quite upset about it. Okay, I may have bought him as an accessory to Haru for the time being, but I still paid a lot of money for him, and this is what I get. There isn't really a lot to say about him. He has the same positives and negatives as Haru. The base is nice, the lack of accessories sucks, and there are some QC issues that break my heart. Regardless of the fact that these two figures have flaws, I still really like them, Haruka in particular. We're struggling to get free figures that aren't exclusives or prizes, and overall these scale figures are really nice. They just don't have the same ALTAiR polish that I was hoping for. That polish is what makes this particular line stand as my favourite. Would I pay 8,000 yen for each of them? Yes, absolutely, I already did. Would I pay 13,000 to 14,000 yen for them in the aftermarket? No, I wouldn't. If they were perfect, I'd say they were worth it, but the inconsistencies in these two just make it a little bit too risky to consider, or at least for me. I am, however, not even almost questioning if I'm going to pre-order the upcoming Rin Matsuoka. Of course I'm going to pre-order him. While Makoto is an accessory to Haru right now, I'm excited about the prospect of having the full cast of characters.
Good afternoon, it's been a good day. Chilling out with my friends, feeling okay. Nothing to rush now, nothing to lose. Just like having a ride that's on the cruise. Good times, every day we all make it shine. Good times, you and me, good times.
They also have pretty good butts for those butt enthusiasts. Just saying.